I'll keep it short so that we can get right to the big announcement of this afternoon. My good friend Lee Klarich is our Chief Product Officer. Please join me in welcoming Lee.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you. Thank you, Renee. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you all for joining us remotely. Big thank you to the panelists for sharing their stories with us today. I don't know about you, but I really enjoy listening to them talk about not just the business value they're getting out of the cloud, but the challenges they faced and how they worked through those challenges. I certainly learn a lot from it, and I like to think that all of you can learn a lot from hearing them as well. You know, it's clear that there's a tremendous amount of business value that all of you can get from the cloud. It's also clear that there's a lot of challenges in adopting the cloud, some of which are just general challenges with how you secure applications, but a number of challenges that are also very unique to the cloud. And so I wanted to share my perspective a bit on how we can approach the cloud from a security perspective in order to really get that full benefit of the cloud. And you know, when I use the word cloud, everyone kind of uses their own kind of definition. I think of a few different primary use cases of the cloud. Certainly, there's a lot of activity around taking a traditional data center application and sort of creating a private cloud, dynamic, automated environment, but still owned within your infrastructure. There's public cloud, moving the applications into someone else's infrastructure, but it's still your application, you're still operating it. And of course, there's simply consuming applications as services in the form of SaaS. And all of these can provide tremendous value. And in fact, what we generally see is that most of you are doing all of these, not just one. There is no one cloud. There is no just one application that you're using the cloud. There's a lot of multi-cloud, hybrid cloud usage out there. And that's great. And in fact, you can get a tremendous amount of value by consuming and deploying applications where they're best suited for, but there's also a lot of challenges that come with that. And some of these challenges simply come out of having applications all over the place. You can very quickly, if you're not paying attention, end up with very fragmented security architecture, which is pretty much impossible to operate. Ultimately, reduces the amount of security you have, creates costs, and you start to lose the real value of the cloud. You also see a lot of folks, the application moves first, and then they try to catch up with it. In the process of doing that, they take the manual security processes that they used to use in the physical data center, and they try to migrate those to the cloud. Doesn't work. And the other thing you see is small human errors get magnified really quickly in the cloud. And it can be a little bit unnerving and scary, but can be ultimately dealt with. And so ultimately, we think that if you take the right approach to this from a security perspective, all of these challenges can be overcome. It starts, of course, with having great security. We don't believe that you have to compromise security in order for things to be easy, that ultimately you need both of these. Second, you need to be able to provide consistent security anywhere your applications might be deployed. You have to fight the challenge of fragmented security and having everything be different everywhere you have a different application. It needs to be consistent. Attacks will find their way in through the least secure vector. And third, it has to be easy. It has to be frictionless. You can't secure the cloud by reducing all the benefits of the cloud. The cloud is dynamic, it's automated, it automatically scales, it moves around. Security needs to be able to keep up with this in a highly automated, frictionless way in order to get that full benefit. And so, if you come back to the same picture, if we do this right, you get the full benefits of the cloud. You get to take full benefit of deploying applications and consuming application from every location in a highly secure and safe way. Now, for this event, I actually want to focus in on one aspect of the cloud and talk about a number of the really unique and exciting things that we have to announce today, and talk about public cloud, infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, and increasingly how those come together. Because one of the things that we've seen over the last several years is the way in which applications are architected for the cloud is changing pretty rapidly. If we were having this conversation, even just a few years ago, we'd probably be talking a lot about lift and shift of applications from the data center into the cloud. You don't change anything other than the location of where that application is deployed. Today, that actually doesn't happen nearly as much as it used to. There's a lot more applications that are being architected for the cloud. And as that's happening, we see a lot more combinations of infrastructure as a service combined with platform as a service together to make up that cloud application. And this is great. There's a lot of benefit to doing this, but it does introduce a number of new challenges. And often, if you take a look at this and think about what the traditional ways to secure these applications are, you kind of are left feeling not so great. You have cloud-native security, not bad, but certainly not sufficient for what you need to accomplish from a security perspective, and certainly not going to deal with the consistency across all locations where applications can be deployed. Then you have these cloud-specific point products, which really aren't going to get the job done. They don't, point products we've seen even on-premise don't work. You can't integrate them all together. You can't take advantage of them. And actually, many of these in the cloud aren't really designed as much for security as they're designed for being frictionless, but you need security still. And then the third choice definitely isn't the right choice, which is taking legacy products that are designed for physical environments and trying to cram them into the cloud in hopes that somehow that's going to do something for you. Unfortunately, you don't get the security you need, and you're going to get in the way of all the benefits of the cloud. And so when we were thinking about this, and we sort of took a step back and thought, what actually needs to happen? And as we thought about this new architecture of applications, we still start with looking at inline security. Traffic coming into the application, traffic between applications, traffic leaving the application, that is still a very critical location where security has to take place. Second, though, we started looking at, in particular, a lot of these PAAS services, but even infrastructure as a service capabilities, and realized there's a very rich set of APIs that are exposed through these applications and services that we need to take advantage of. It provides a very unique opportunity to see exactly how the applications are configured and how they're being used. And third, the host. Any endpoint, laptop, server, virtual, doesn't matter. There's a very unique opportunity on the host to secure that application, that operating system, and in particular, to be able to look for, detect, and prevent even zero-day attacks that haven't been seen before. And so ultimately, we believe that these three capabilities need to be combined together. And of course, we have the VM series, which is our solution to inline security, full next-gen firewall capabilities and security designed and architected for the cloud. We have APERTURE, which focuses on the APIs and understanding these infrastructure and platform services and gaining access to a very valuable set of information for security purposes. And third, we have traps on the host, designed to protect the host in a very lightweight fashion and prevent against attacks. And so this is how we see security now being architected for the cloud and bringing together the right technologies in the right places in the right ways. Now, I want to switch to a video real quick. I want to hear from one of our longtime strategic partners in the cloud, Scott Guthrie from Microsoft. Roll the video.
My name is Scott Guthrie, and I'm the Executive Vice President of the Cloud and Enterprise Group here at Microsoft. One of the things that we're seeing, obviously, is that every organization out there is looking to take advantage of the cloud in some way, shape, or form. And one of the things that's obviously critical for any enterprise to adopt the cloud is security, and having a solution that enables them to know that as their organizations start to deploy workloads, they're following best practices, that they have the right monitoring in place, and in particular, having a security architecture that works in a hybrid space and has the flexibility to be able to see both what's in public cloud as well as what might already be inside their data center or other partner facilities that they take advantage of. Finding ways that we can help enable organizations to actually fuse those different seams and be able to still provide the agility that individual departments want, but at the same time be able to provide a unified view of the security posture, the security best practices, and the security policies, and to be able to monitor that consistently, I think is the holy grail that organizations are looking for. And part of what we've done with, for example, our Azure Security Center is provide that type of view at the organization level, and then we've partnered very closely with Palo Alto so that we can actually fuse our signals together and be able to provide that unified signal both in public cloud as well as on premises. And I think that ultimately is kind of what organizations are looking for and really helps them be secure and adopt cloud even faster.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott, for contributing to this event. There's some new stuff we have to talk about. Renee mentioned this, and I'm certainly honored and excited to be able to share with you for the first time a number of really exciting enhancements to our security platform for the cloud. And I want to start with inline security. This is an area that we've been making investments in for many years now, and every launch, every release, we continue to push the ball forward. And a lot of this actually comes down to how we make the VM series even more seamlessly, more easy, more frictionless fit into these cloud environments. And today there's a number of things we're announcing to make this even better. Starting with AWS. We've learned a lot from the last few years of our auto-scaling capabilities, and we've completely revamped those, making them easier, more efficient, more scalable. Really excited to be able to take our learnings and bring them back into the product. We're also announcing the ability to support a new use case within AWS, the AWS Transit VPC architecture. I'll explain it to you later, maybe. But really important architectural capability for how you can design and deploy your applications and make it really easy to automate the inclusion of security into these environments. On the Azure side, you heard Scott mention already the integrations we have with Azure and extending those into the Azure Security Center and application insights, both of which just make it a lot easier to kick off automated processes, monitor resources, use that monitoring to drive additional capabilities and scaling. Really excited about that. We also will be supporting in the next few days, similar to AWS, an Azure Transit VNet architecture as well. Again, bringing the same kind of automation to application deployment and adding security in these environments. And really excited to announce support for Google Cloud Platform, adding to the cloud environments that we can secure. And we've been working with Google actually now for quite a while to make sure that when we came out with support for GCP, it wouldn't just be something that checks the box, it'd be something that'd be really usable. So starting day one, we'll have support for the Google Marketplace, we'll have support for automated deployments, we'll have support for dynamic policy updates, and a number of other really critical capabilities in GCP. In addition to this, Panorama, which is the central management solution for all of our next-gen firewalls, including the virtual instances, is being upgraded as well, in addition to having the hardware form factor, the virtual form factor for private cloud environments. Panorama will now be deployable in public cloud environments as well, allowing it to sit side by side with the VM series that is managing and supporting, and just basically giving you a lot more flexibility for deployment options as well. Now, I want to take the time, listen to another video from one of our longtime strategic partners, Dave McCann from AWS.
I'm Dave McCann, head of AWS Marketplace and Service Catalog. As our customers experience the benefit of the innovation that they perform on AWS, they're moving more and more of their workloads. We secure everything from the host down and manage all of that capability and take the risk away from the customer. The guest and the application in the guest is the responsibility of the customer to control, and so clearly Palo Alto Networks, you've been innovating with us now for several years to make it easy for our customers to secure the applications on the guest. As our customers adopt our methodology, you end up with a lot of DevOps teams who are moving at speed, and yet all organizations have a CISO, they have a security team. That's usually a small security team who wants to have a high confidence that teams building and deploying applications are deploying them in a secure way. We've worked hard to take the friction out of the customer experience to both purchase, deploy, and manage software in the cloud. And together recently Palo Alto Networks and AWS Marketplace announced joint collaboration on enterprise contract for Marketplace, which is in preview, and 20 corporations, software, and buyers are using a standard contract to simplify the procurement. Our customers look for best-in-class offers, and Palo Alto Networks has achieved the security competency level and a well-architected rating from AWS, which tells our customers to have high confidence in the experience they're going to have of deploying your solution to benefit their business.
Thank you, Dave. I really love how he talks about the need for advanced security, but that is integrated seamlessly and frictionlessly into these cloud environments. Couldn't agree more. Now, I talked about inline security, also previously mentioned API-based security. And this is really very important component of what we can do to secure applications in the cloud. There's just a whole bunch of really important kind of security questions like, is MFA enabled? Who has access to my resources? When did a new set of resources spin up? And were they spun up in a secure way? And are admins behaving normally or abnormally and doing things they shouldn't do? And is sensitive data exposed publicly? There's just this really long list of important security questions where the APIs expose the information to answer these questions. And so early last summer, we took Aperture, which was initially designed, focused on securing SaaS applications, and we realized the underlying technology would work great for securing public cloud applications as well, both infrastructure as a service as well as platform as a service, and we launched the first support for AWS EC2 and S3. And we heard from many of our customers was, this is really valuable. Can you keep going down this path? Expand the capabilities, expand what you can do. And so today we're announcing a lot. We have additional capabilities in Aperture for public cloud, the ability to discover and monitor new resources and use those as triggers for providing security response. We're expanding the storage services that we can provide beyond AWS to now include Azure and Google Cloud Platform. And we're adding compliance reporting to give people the peace of mind that they know that their cloud applications are configured and deployed correctly, and to let them know as soon as they're out of compliance and they need to go do something about it. So very excited about Aperture's new role in securing not only SaaS applications, but public cloud applications as well. But I'd like to hear from a third partner. You can probably guess who that's going to be, Google, and get their perspective on API-based security as well. Roll the video.
My name is Niels Provos. I'm a distinguished engineer at Google and manage most of the security engineering teams. So if you're looking at the news these days, you'll find that every other week you see an article about a company that was compromised, often by state-sponsored actors. They ended up losing a lot of their intellectual property. And the question that I always ask myself is, what can we do to solve this problem? And the API interactions are really the ones that you want to secure. If you end up with a cloud-based solution that gives you the visibility of everything that you run, and then also gives you the opportunity to put security policies in place that secure these applications, that is where you end up being much better off than before. It's really important that customers can do this at scale and as easy as possible. And we're looking forward to our collaboration with Palo Alto Networks to make security even easier to deploy at scale in the future.
Awesome. Thanks, Niels. Really excited to be working with you and all the things we're going to do with Google together. One more area on the host. I mentioned before the host provides a very unique opportunity to secure at the operating system level and the application level that is unique and very valuable to combine with the network and APIs. And for this, we have Traps. And Traps brings multi-method attack protection to any endpoint, whether it's on-premise or the cloud. And what we're really excited to talk about today is that Traps, in the very near future, is also going to support Linux. Obviously, very important securing applications in the cloud, that most of which run on Linux. And so we bring a lot of those same prevention and security capabilities now and make them even more relevant to applications in the cloud. Now, when you take all of this together, there's just a lot that we are enhancing in the platform. We're enhancing the number of cloud environments that we can support, and we're enhancing everything that we have to secure applications in the cloud. VM series for inline protections, Aperture for API-based protections, and Traps for host-based protections. Really, really excited about the step forward that we're taking. But I think it's interesting to note that this is not our first attempt to secure the cloud. This is part of a long-standing investment that we've been making to provide security for the cloud that dates back many, many years when we first saw the importance that cloud was going to play in all of your environments. And you go back even to 2013 with the first release of the VM series, taking our full next-gen firewall security capabilities and virtualizing them and starting to design them specifically for cloud environments, all the way through today. And you just see just a tremendous amount of new capabilities we're bringing and making available to you. Now, one thing I do want to point out is sort of across the top is all of the locations that we can secure. This is obviously really important. You have to have great security, but it has to be deployable in the right locations for you where your applications need to be protected. But in addition, across the bottom, what you see is just our ongoing and accelerating investment in all of the automation and orchestration integrations that are necessary to really solve a lot of that frictionless requirement of how security needs to fit in these environments. And just things we're doing around Google Cloud, things we're doing around Ansible and Terraform, things we're doing with AWS and Azure, all of these are really designed to make sure that anywhere your application needs to be protected, we have security for that, but it can be deployed and integrated in a very seamless fashion. And so we're really excited about the announcements we're making today, all the new capabilities we're bringing to market. And of course, to keep this in perspective, this is part of a broader security platform designed to secure your entire organization, obviously the cloud included. Renee?
Thank you, Lee.